the world of innovation is changing so rapidly, as we'll see at CES next week, that there's winners and losers all the time. Even take the telephone area. Remember, it started with Motorola, and they were replaced by BlackBerry, and then Nokia, and then Apple and Samsung and others have come on strong. It's a tough, competitive world, and Apple's a phenomenal company. I think they'll do fine. This is probably a buying opportunity, but we have to recognize, because of this trade war and these tariffs, these taxes, it's hurting both China and the United States. The IMF said this is causing a large percentage drop in the percentage of growth in GDP, and they were right. We've been saying this for almost a year now. This is a very dangerous path that President Trump has undertaken, and it's leading to what will probably be the Trump recession, because it affects China, it affects China buying, and it's affecting U.S. We've heard about it in over 70 earnings calls. Apple is just the most recent. This is a very dangerous path. We're happy with the truce now, but we have to resolve this the way we did with Canada and Mexico.
Apple was pretty careful not to try and point fingers at any kind of backlash against American-made products, even though we have heard anecdotal reports of things like that. Do you have any sense about whether American manufacturers are suffering any additional kind of boycott or resistance on the part of consumers in China?
Well, certainly President Trump was absolutely correct in that China was not being fair to out-of-Chinese manufacturers for a long time, and he was right to try to do something about it. His tactic was wrong. However, the Chinese don't have exactly outright boycotts. For example, they have some challenges with Japan, and their consumers seem to somehow get a message they shouldn't buy Japanese products. That happened in the past. I haven't seen it yet for American companies, but there's no question that in the Chinese press, Americans are being portrayed increasingly as the villains. And there's no doubt that the Chinese citizens are getting a message from that. It's a dangerous path when we don't have a good, strong relationship between the two top economies of the world. And if we could resolve our differences and just recognize we have different philosophies and move forward, I think we'll do well. But there is a big battle going on, not only on trade, but on the future of technology, on artificial intelligence and self-driving cars and robotics. And we have to be really smart as a nation to be able to be in that battle.
You're saying both things, though, Gary. And you know, you're an association president for technology, and you're like any, you're not a CEO, but every CEO has a quarter to worry about, and that's the next, the next 12 weeks. So there's never a good time, to address these things with China. But if you're sitting there, if you're still the CTA guy 5 years from now, and you've let China completely lap us by stealing technology because you didn't want to do anything near term that might impact you for the next 3 months, is that what you want to be known for? What do you mean? We should have done something, but we didn't do it the right way. How would you do it? How would you, if you don't like it, what's your idea of how to do it?
Well, this is my third book coming out, and I've been pretty clear as of 10 years ago what we should be doing, Joe. And it's not tariffs. Tariffs are taxes, and that hurts both countries, no question. But we could have had a bilateral relationship where we impose upon them the same requirements that they put upon us. We have a big event in China. We have to have a partner there. We're bound by all sorts of rather ambiguous rules. We would like to actually have the same kind of rules we have in the United States, which are clear, they're transparent, we don't have to have a partner, we could buy real estate here. We let China buy up a lot of the United States
so we've
and
got
do
no
all sorts of...
There's no way we enforce. You've been writing these things for 10 years, and nothing has changed. We haven't made any progress in addressing any of those things. So, I mean, no one wants a nuclear waste site in their backyard either. But, I mean, sooner or later, don't you need to, it takes pain to make progress. No pain, no gain, right?
I agree with you. What has changed is that China's become a major export market for the U.S., and that's why we have the Apple's earnings announcement we just had. It's difficult, it's not right, and it could be better, but that's how you do it. You don't declare a nuclear war with trade as we did with Smoot-Hawley, which was the biggest mistake we've ever made. Congress made it, 2,000 economists opposed it. We're doing the same thing today, only Congress gave a limited authority to the president, which he appears to be over-exercising, and he's imposed these 10% tariffs. Soon we'll go to 25% if they don't strike a deal by March. And this overhang over the stock market, over the economy, over the relationship is simply unhealthy, and it's affected our leadership in the world. Next week at CES, we're going to have over 60,000 people come from outside the United States. And now we're having all sorts of things. There's a government shutdown. Our government is now becoming the challenge to doing business in this country. And that is something that we, with $1 billion taxes, with a government shutdown, with the uncertainty in our foreign policy, we we are facing challenges globally that the U.S., instead of being a leader, is being the cause. President Trump has done great things with cutting taxes, eliminating rules, but he's stepping all over it with this very strange and difficult foreign policy, which is imposing tariffs and providing an uncertain leadership for America throughout the world. And that is what I think is bringing down the economy. Of course, we're due for a recession, but this Trump recession should not be hastened by our own actions of our own government.
Gary, do you think all this pressure on both sides, though, can come up with something of a workable deal by March? I mean, it's not that long
it has
wait.
to. You know, Trump measured himself by the stock market, and he's looking at the measurements today. He has to be thinking that this is not good. We have to resolve it. He resolved it with Mexico and Canada, a new NAFTA, which is really the old NAFTA with some special effects and some adding for new technology like digital. It's a good deal, and I think we should conclude it in Congress. Yeah. I think he has to come up with a deal in China. The question is, what does he want? Because it hasn't been disclosed. They haven't said what they want with China. And what can China actually give? And does the Trump administration even really want a deal? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. All right.